theory. That is the topic for today. And then after that, we'll go to some questions in 2019 essay. Okay, Rawls. Okay. Who will summarize? Karim, will you summarize?
Yes, sir. Rawls has given a very simple and clear and undisputable definition for a theory for justice.
Why you are very much convinced?
Because it seemed to be so practical.
Are you not shocked by the simplicity? I was shocked when I learned it.
Yes, because it seemed mostly practical. So giving this theory that time is really great.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. Okay, so what is the theory?
He gave he mentioned about original position. If we that original position is nothing but veil of ignorance and
original position.
Yes.
In that veil of ignorance.
And he has few assumptions as well along with that.
And then gave some assumptions. Okay.
People generally have a tendency to choose within this original position seem to be is what he concluded.
Okay. If you don't know your position, if you don't know your class, caste or gender, okay, what kind of society will you choose? And the society you will choose when you don't know anything about yourself and when you can't get out after selection of that society is a just society. That in essence is Rawls' theory. So what is a society you want to be a part of when you don't know what you are going to be? That is a just society. In a marriage, what do you think is the ideal relationship? When you don't know whether you are going to be a man or a woman, then how marriage should be? So if people do not know whether they are going to be man or woman, they are likely to demand just relationship between man and woman. But if they already know they are men, and then they will say, yes, woman should be like that, like this. So it's a very simple assumption that people have an idea of justice from their vested interests. Vested interests. And if the vested interests are removed, what they think is just is universal. In a contract, if you don't know whether you are going to buy or sell, and then the contract that you arrive at without knowing whether you are a buyer or a seller is the right contract, just contract. So is the case with a society. Okay, then ask, would you want, so that is the position. That is, you don't know your position. If you don't know your position, what do you want? So Rawls is saying, by definition, that can be regarded as justice. Tell me, what opinions do you have on this position? Rawls' conclusions may be different. Bharat, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Did you follow the video?
I read that on a book, Ethical Thought.
Fine. That is much simpler. Okay. So what do you think is that, I mean, are you not surprised by the simplicity? Are you new?
Yes, sir. It's I read your book before, but this theory just stuck with me. Like 10 days ago, I read the entire book, but this theory only stuck with me. Like, it's the most correct theory. Like, everybody will accept it. There won't be any. This is the only acceptable theory to me. Like,
yes, exactly. People are shocked. Everybody is shocked because people are endlessly debating what is justice, and this man came up with a very extremely simple theory. Nobody proposed that before. I was shocked when I first read it, that there can be such a simple solution to this issue.
Yes, sir.
And one more thing in the assumptions he is saying, that people should not have an opinion regarding what is an ideal. Maybe he is thinking that people who are influenced by religion, particularly communism, because if you are influenced by communism, you are likely to say all should be equal. There should not be any private property. But Rawls thinks no. Or so he thinks that assume that the people are not exposed to any philosophy of what is justice. That is what Rawls' confidence is. So if you're a Marxist, then you may think, okay, that is the just society I want. No, he says, no. You are not already influenced. If you are not already influenced by a particular ideology, then Rawls thinks you will choose a particular society where you will prefer inequalities. That is another thing. Because in case you are good and you are doing well, you want to reach the top. You don't want to be a part of society where there is nothing like top or bottom. So going by that, what all Marx said is not justice. Abolition of private property is not justice. Why is it not justice? Rawls says, people don't want like that. Poor people may say property should be abolished. But if you have to choose a society where you don't know whether you are going to be poor or rich, you are not likely to say property should be abolished, because who knows, you may be rich and you may have property. That is Rawls' thinking. So Rawls assumed if you have the capacity, if you have those skills, you do want to be on the top. But in case you don't have, you should like to be protected, given extra care. That is what is called a difference principle. You are born handicapped. You are born with certain disabilities where your performance in the economy is low, is poor. Then you would love to be taken care of, not treated equally by everybody, but to be taken care of. That he called a difference principle. And you want to be a system where there are certain freedoms, liberty, that you don't want to lose. So he was also including historical experience of what happened in USSR. They tried to bring equality, but at the expense of liberties, and they all suffered. So he's saying liberties first. Freedom, liberties first. Equality of opportunity next. If there is a conflict between freedom and equality of opportunity, freedom. But next, equality of opportunity. And if conflict between equality of opportunity and difference principle, equality of opportunity first. So he was including historical experience, and he also felt this is how human beings think. So his gut feeling is that if they don't know, if people do not know their position, and if they don't are subjected to prior philosophy, then they are bound to lose, they are bound to choose these choices, which means what some people are proposing as just society, particularly Marxism, is not really a just society, because people don't want that. So any imposition of Marxist ideals would be wrong, because those are not the ideals people want. What makes you think that is justice in the first place? And very unusually, he is not saying that this is justice. He is saying that, what would you say? Is it not true? This has very unusual elements. So he is banking on people's opinion and seemed so perfectly sensible. So I believe if you are not shocked by Rawls, you may not have understood. That I can say, because that's a very unusual way to think about the issue. So even in a day-to-day conflict, in any interpersonal issues also, we can work out what may be the justice. When you don't know your role, what do you expect? What do you expect of mother? What do you expect of brother-in-law? What do you expect of husband? Okay. So in a way, it is empirical, intuitive, very convincing, historical experience included. So rights take precedence over opportunity, equality, and it takes precedence over difference principle. So how are we respecting difference principle in Indian Constitution?
Reservation.
Hmm?
Reservation.
Reservations. Yes. Reservations. There are 2 questions on Rawls, and you can attempt. This question is 2016. Analyze Rawls' concept of social justice in the Indian context. Okay, you can take this question. I'll give this as assignment and you write and submit. Not on Padlet. Analyze Rawls' concept of social justice in the Indian context. 10 marks. Okay, analyze Rawls' concept of social justice in the Indian context. Okay. Rajesh, are you able to follow?
Yes, sir, I am.
Raju, how are you?
Good, sir.
I have one doubt.
Please.
Sir, in the video you have explained with an example with the diagrammatic representation of A, B, and in between equals and Maximin. That concept alone, could you please?
Okay. See, suppose in an equal society, top 10%, top 10% share is this, middle 10% is this, bottom 10% is this in an equal society, which means there is nothing like top and bottom. Wealth is equally divided. Whereas in extremely unequal society, top 10% will have this much wealth, bottom this much, and lowest will be only this much. Okay. So Rawls rejected this. People don't want equal. People don't want where top has maximum. That is called max. People prefer, he said, to be a part of top to have more, bottom to have less. This is Rawls' understanding. Maximin. Maximize the minimum position.
Now I got it. Yes.
Okay. So what does this mean? Rawls thinks people want inequalities. People want top people to have more, but not to the extent where the bottom is ignored. So he is proposing how preferential treatment is a part of just society. Only through preferential treatment you get like this. Preferential treatment is a part of just society. Only through preferential treatment you get like this. It means the underprivileged, less competent, disabled, pushed. So 1A, 1B, 1, 2, okay, 3.
Sir, how underprivileged will be pushed here? Sir, in Maximin it is encouraging only, right, sir? Slightly.
Pushed means encouraged.
Oh,
Pushed forward.
forward. Okay, sir.
Pushed away.
Okay.
Pushed and encouraged. Okay. So liberties, equality of opportunity, and pushed. Difference means.
Sir, why difference means?
Just one second. So Rawls is saying, I mean, unusual thing about this is that Rawls is rejecting equality as a goal. Equality as justice. Equality is not justice. How can you say it is justice? People don't want it. Because people want to be above. If they have skills, they want to be on the top. They want to be on the top. They want to have those skills. They want to work hard. How can you deny it? So rejection of extreme inequality does not mean rejection of inequalities as such. So the idealism that the Marxists talk about, Rawls is saying, is not justice. That is unjust. Yesterday we said never lie is a vice. So do you see, we do certain thinkers because they thought in certain unusual ways. So it is not that the issues of justice are settled and you have to create a just society. But Rawls is asking, what do you think is just society? So equality is not justice. Very simple. It's a very bold statement. A just society is a society where there are inequalities, but inequalities are not very high. The vulnerable are taken care of. Opportunities are given. Liberties not curtailed. So bring that society. That is what justice is. Okay. Now compare with Plato. Plato is thinking just society is the society ruled by philosopher king. But he hasn't explained what the philosopher king would do. What would be his position on inequalities? But Rawls is saying what wisdom should finally do. When you're writing about Rawls, bring Plato. This question is on Rawls, but even if it is not on Rawls, questions on inequality can be answered with the help of Rawls. Bharat, please. Bharat?
Sir, you said second point takes precedence over third point. So what does that mean? Like both are conflicting. So what is the need of third point?
Third point is about difference principle.
So is reservation against Rawls theory? Because second has equality of opportunity, but third point says that it's about difference principle. So, but you have to take second as precedence, right? More important than third point.
That is why you create equality of opportunity. That is true. You create an equality of opportunity, but after that, give a push to the some people. For example, but you mean to say
Reservation system is against Rawls principle.
then any difference principle would violate equality of opportunity.
Yes, that's what I'm asking, sir. But
that is not the way he thought. You try to create as much. For example, I mean, I thought of something like this. For example, in the name of equality of opportunity, can you abolish private schools? Because some people will have access to better education, and that will violate equality of opportunity. So no private schools. Rawls would say no.
okay,
Some people will be able to pay, and so they will have. So you don't crush their liberties.
okay,
Okay. See, there is some contradiction. For example, liberties are there. Liberty will create inequalities. Liberty will create inequalities of opportunities. Okay, but then don't suppress liberties. Protect liberties. Then equality of opportunity. Give equality of opportunity. But even after creation of equality of opportunity, give a push. But if you are saying push is a violation of equality of opportunity.
yes, sir. You can think like that also, but we have to get the essence, not like it means it becomes nitpicking, right?
Maybe broadly we need to see. But how can you then apply difference principle at all if you insist on equality of opportunity? See, the issue here is that why it may not be a violation of equality of opportunity is that suppose reservations are given to the really deserving. That is what Rawls thinks. Okay. Then the really deserving did not have the opportunity. So legal opportunities are created and they are not up to the mark. And so you are pushing. It is like that.
Okay.
First opportunity is given. Some people are not able to use the opportunity. So they are pushed. But probably in our imagination, we think of reservations, people who are already good and yet getting the reservation. So it is a violation.
Yes.
Okay, definitely. Indian reservation is a violation of Rawls principle. There is no doubt about it. Okay.
Okay.
We should go to create opportunities, but some are not able to come up, then push. You are pushing somebody who is unequal. Please look into this. Pushing somebody who is unequal, who cannot catch for the legal equality. Okay, not that somebody is rich but belong to a lower caste, and somebody is normal, and so he is pushed. Then you will say, what is this? Okay.
Okay.
Somebody is not able to study, doesn't have that adequate base. Legal opportunity is created in the sense anybody can write the examination, anybody can clear, but some people have resources and others do not have the aptitude, and then push. It is like that. So in that sense, when the really disadvantaged is being pushed, you are creating an opportunity, you are creating equality between the people who have the opportunities, who have the resources. So those without the resources are brought to equality, are pushed with the people who have resources. That is how it is supposed to operate. So in that sense, different principle is not supposed to be a violation of equality of opportunity, because now I think it is clear. You are giving it to truly different people.
Like physically challenged,
Exactly.
for example.
Reservations is supposed to be like that. Now that it is not like that, it seems to be a violation, but it is supposed to be like that.
Okay.
Bharat, I don't think there is a violation here, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Difference principle is supposed to be to the people with a difference. Okay.
So there won't be any conflict.
Disadvantaged are pushed. Please.
So there won't be any conflict between second and third point.
He is saying if there is a conflict, equality opportunity should take precedence. He is very clear.
But there won't be any conflict, right?
There should not be. But there may be conflict. I mean, in practicality, there may not be following. We may not be following. That's a different issue. But he is proposing when there is a conflict, this is how it should be resolved.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
This is how it should be resolved. You shouldn't destroy equality of opportunities because some people are not catching up, and so there should not be. It shouldn't be like that. So take property issue. Liberty is right to make money. If you want equality of opportunity and if you deprive people right to make money, Rawls says no, don't do that. Right to make money, make it. But it leads to inequalities of opportunity. Let it be. So that's how rights precedence over equality of opportunity. But then take schooling. Schooling, same children at same age. So good schools will create unequal opportunities in job market, unequal opportunities in life. So in the name of equality of opportunity, should you abolish good schools? Go for private, no private schools, all schools standardized. We'll say no. Let there be inequalities of opportunities. But then after that, some people are not able to make it, push. That's what he's thinking. So in cases of conflict, this is how you should prioritize. That is Rawls saying. Deepti?
Sir, I was thinking difference principle means state giving a differential treatment or justice being acceptable when there are differences. I mean, justice is accommodation of differences.
Accommodation of the disadvantaged, favorable treatment to the disadvantaged. It is not accommodation of differences. It is not secularism and things like that.
Okay. So it is state proactively giving.
Just 1 second. It is not, that is another point. It is not about the state. It is about the society.
Okay.
That is another thing about Rawls. He is not saying what only the government should do. He is asking people to choose a society that gives difference. For example, on the basis, one proposal, should Muslims get reservation? If you apply Rawls principle, definitely yes. Because there is a statistical evidence that as a community, they are losing out on many areas. Okay. And Rawls is saying not about the government, it is about the society. Okay. So to whomever total society is not working in favor, they should be pushed. So which means he is saying discrimination is good. It is a matter of how you discriminate. Discrimination is good, but how you discriminate? Positive discrimination. Okay. Remember, it is not only about the jobs or money. Rawls is saying all socially valuable things, power, prestige, anything. Basically, how does society allocate? respect to woman, also part of Rawls theory. Because woman represents a particular entity, position, and respect is one resource. So don't think in terms of job only. No. It's about how values are allocated. Are women respected in this society? Should women be given preferential treatment in a bus? Like that. So are there certain factors which are detrimental to women being equally active? There are certain factors. And so discriminate them positively. That's what Rawls would think. So if there are any factors which are naturally disadvantageous to a particular group, then push. Because very simple. If you are a woman, what would you think? So Rawls theory is applicable in many contexts. So if there are certain natural factors that are against a particular group, so how minority should have rights? For example, some people, Hindu groups will say, you can't do about the minorities. You do everything to the majority. This is majority. This is minority appeasement and things like that. But Rawls might think differently. What happens to minorities in a democracy? Democracy is run by majorities. So definitely minorities are likely to suffer. And so discriminate and positively. That's how he would think.
Sir.
Just 1 second. Are coming to the basics. Suppose you are in a minority. What system would you want? What kind of system do you want if you are in a minority? Then you think, okay, this is not working for me. So push. So Rawls is not about the government, not about jobs. It is about how society has to treat individuals, how it should allocate its values. Sources are basis of respect. That's what Rawls said. Very, very comprehensive. So everywhere you can come back to the fundamental question. If you were in that position, what would you? If you were a Kashmiri, how would you talk? It would be a completely different talk. If you belong to a northeast state, how would you think? If you belong to a lower caste, how would you think? If you're a woman, how would you think? In fact, Gandhi had a very simple formula. He said a system should be judged from the viewpoint of the weak and the vulnerable. I think it's very close to Rawls' theory. So secularism has to be judged not by the majority, but by the minority. Family has to be judged not by man, but by woman. So Rawls' simple question is, if you are in that, what kind of a society you want? What happens usually is that since people know their position, they think of what is good given their position, and they think in terms of their self-interest.
Their identities.
Exactly, their identities. They go by their identities and their positions. But Rawls is saying, suppose you do not know, or you are in that vulnerable position, what would you do? Rawls' more refined thing is that you don't know, because if you are sure about your vulnerable position, then you think of all kinds of things, because you know that you are in that position. Then you may ask for all kinds of concessions. But Rawls doesn't want that. So it's about the society, not just the government. So essentially, Rawls is saying that justice has something to do with protection of the weak, because the strong are already protected. Karimullah, you want to say something?
Sir, I think the hindrance to justice is one of the hindrance to justice is the biases and the prejudices that one carries and what a society naturally possesses. And this theory undermines and kind of eliminates that.
Exactly.
The
That's true. Yes, yes. It is elimination of prejudices, elimination of vested interests. That precisely is the essence of the theory. He is sure that if the prejudices, vested interests are eliminated, then all think alike. That is his confidence, and people found yes, there is truth in that. So it's not about polity only, it's about economy, polity, society, respect, everything. It is not about what only government can do, it is about what society should do, how a family should run. Family also is like this. In fact, family follows difference principle. All good families take extra care of the weak and the vulnerable. Bad families give more importance to the successful, and the less successful feel even more discriminated. But good families are always careful. A good mother is the one who is always concerned about the one who is not doing well. Okay. It leads to some communication gap among brothers. Some brothers think, why my mother is only concerned about him and not me. She is concerned because if you are doing well, then she is no longer concerned about you. So a good family is the one that discriminates. But discriminates positively. Elder brother has to take care of the younger brother. An affluent brother has to take care of brother who is not doing so well. So positive discrimination is justice. Discrimination is justice. Of course, negative discrimination is exploitation. That is why championing the cause of the lower caste is justice, but championing the cause of higher caste is injustice. Kamma people ganging up is undemocratic, but Mala people ganging up is not undemocratic. They are only empowering themselves. So Rawls' theory has many implications. He is validating discrimination. But certain majority groups say, no, there should be equality. Hindus should be treated just the way Muslims should be treated, just the way Hindus are treated. In fact, that there is discrimination that is different. But Rawls is saying positive discrimination. Upper caste people say caste should not be an issue at all. Why? Because if it is not an issue, then the upper caste can dominate. But if it is an issue, then questions will come. So the dominant people don't want that as an issue at all. But the subordinated people want to make it as an issue and seek equality. Equality is good, but Rawls is saying equality is not enough. Difference principle should exist. Difference principle is a powerful argument. It can be in the context of a small state. It can be in the context of cultural minority or a tribe, man-woman relationship. So Rawls is saying that is justice. How do you know? Let us start the story. That's how he would say. Suppose you do not know. Okay, Deepthi.
Sir, this theory was saying principles chosen in original position are principles of justice.
Exactly.
Am I missing something? Should it not be not original position? Suppose I am the affluent part of the society. I should think in the nature of
if you are not in the original position, he thinks that you will think in a biased way. If you know you are going to be a man, then you will say no, woman should be confined to home.
Sir, what is original? What does original position means? Neutral.
Exactly.
Does it mean neutral?
Original position is you don't know your position. You don't know what gender you are going to be, class or caste, or what abilities you will have, whether you like physical skills, whether you like intellectual skills, whether you are going to be born handicapped. You have no idea. And once you make an entry, you can't come out.
Oh, original position means before making an entry into the situation.
Veil of ignorance plus certain set of assumptions.
Less assumptions.
That is original position.
Okay.
Why is Rawls concerned about original position? Otherwise, you will think in a biased way.
Yes.
So if you are sure you are going to be poor, you will think in one way. That also is a biased way. You may say there should not be any private property. Only if you know whether you are going to be born in a rich family or a poor family. Okay? What will you say? That is the original position. Original position is to remove the source of bias. Okay. Devansh, you have something to say?
Sir, two things. Sir, first I saw your video on Rawls, and then I was reading the 14 demands of Jinnah, and then some of the demands, they all of a sudden they started looking valid.
Thank you.
But before that, I thought all of them were invalid.
Thank you. So nice of you. Yes. Anyway, let me tell you, Jinnah made those 14 demands after he gave up. They were not his original position. Original position using differently. Jinnah sought compromise, and when compromise was not possible, then he made those demands. Otherwise, he was much more reasonable. His concern was about how do you protect these people from majoritarianism. That was the concern.
But the assumptions are not met here, right, sir?
Where?
I mean, in Jinnah's case.
Of course, assumptions are, but nobody can go back to original position, right? Original position is only hypothetical thing. So
Sir, I made from my
basically,
viewpoint.
should minorities be given extra protection? Should difference principle be applied?
So
Yes.
ideally, we cannot apply this, sir. Then in that
Why?
case, assumptions, like you said, assumption. I mean, in
See,
case
we are working out principles of justice from original position. Once principles are agreed upon, then we are living in an actual society. These are minorities. Apply difference principle. We can't go back to the original position, right? From original position, we derive principles of justice and apply principles now.
yes, got it.
So, Rawls is saying that equality is not justice. In India, you know, on religion, there is so much of hypocrisy. That is why in your exam confined to caste and gender, people are happy with it. But religion is a much more sensitive issue. But a lot of hypocrisy on religious issues. Secularism means equality of all religions, and so there cannot be any reservations. No. Caste-based security, not because caste-based reservation. It is not because we believe in caste system. Because we don't believe in caste system, we are giving reservations. Because we don't believe in caste. So if we believe in religious equality, then you should give reservations to the people who are discriminated. If discrimination is empirically proved, and which is proved. So if secularism is equality, how do you implement equality? So Rawls is saying difference principle is a part of equality. In fact, in one Supreme Court judgment, it said reservations are not an exception to Article 14, but an instance, is an example. So-called exceptions are an example of equality. Okay. So when they are not equal, saying that they should be equal, and so we will not create extra provision, is a violation of equality. That is unjust. When they are not equal, apply difference principle if you believe in equality. So discrimination is made part of equality in Rawls' theory. But positive discrimination, he is referring to positive discrimination. So there are many superficial arguments like that. Because we are secular, we can't do like this, No. So equality meant following these things. And India has done many radical things. On religious matters, it is very conservative. But on gender and caste, sweeping changes have taken place. Okay, caste-based reservation is a great idea. Tribal reservation is a great idea. Woman preference is a great idea. Okay. So we did believe that positive discrimination is part of justice. Okay. So that is how unequal treatment is a way to bring equality. Okay. Devansh.
Sir, when we read about Rawls' theory, somewhere it is also said that Amartya Sen's name is springs up as somehow there is a debate between the two on this justice. Sir, what is that? Sir,
no idea. No idea. I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe some modifications. I have no idea. I didn't read. I don't know the difference, but he is broadly influenced by Rawls' theory and Mill's theory. I know only that much. Okay. Anything else?
I have a question. Sir,
Please.
now we all have understood and we have arrived that we need a just society. But
Exactly.
how do you convince a person who has taken a stand and he is firm
How
about
do
it?
you convince? You can logically say justice involves unequal treatment. So one can say logically, but how do you? Democracy is not working by logic. Democracy, that is the problem with democracy, right? Democracy is working by majority opinion. Majority opinion. See, when we think about truth, newspaper should be involved in truth. University should be involved in truth. Link truth to systems of education. So we are going by majority. Okay, if caste and gender are being taken care of because they are in a they have a significant majority and they have somehow learned to impact the system. I mean, though progressively. So, okay, coming to your question, what can a person do? State the truth, argue. And some people may be tempted to think, okay, let us create a just society. We are providing an intellectual defense.
But for, for that basic level of education is required. I mean, the theory is really convincing, but the application is limited because of so many lack of literacy.
It is more of vested interests playing a role, majorities playing a role rather than lack of literacy. Why is the system like this? It is not because they do not know. It is because people don't care about things that people don't care about justice to others. People care about justice to themselves. It is like that. Democracy is about people fighting for their rights and how compromise is arrived at. We'll look into it. But that is a general problem. You may find that something is just, and how do you ensure that the system does what is just? That is as old as Aristotle's question, Plato's question.
Sir, all the democratic constitutions were based on John Rawls' theory, like because all of them have some provision for the difference principle.
That is true. But in their working, there can be difference. They may state things formally, but in actual working, they may not be like that. Okay. Okay. In this context, I will introduce one more concept. So, is that clear? What is that question on Rawls?
Analyze concept of social justice.
Analyze John Rawls' concept of social justice in the Indian context. Thank you. Next, take one more question, 2019. What is meant by the term constitutional morality? How does one uphold constitutional morality? Sunil's point is, okay, Constitution has this, and how can you ensure that the society has this? So, what he is referring to is constitutional morality. Constitutional morality is protective discrimination, equality, liberty. But what is morality in a society, particularly Indian society? Man more powerful than woman, casteism, religious discrimination. This is a part of moral code. So constitutional morality is different from social morality. Constitutional morality is about equality of opportunity, liberty, protective discrimination, secularism. So if you think in constitutional terms, you have some laws, some ways of thinking about justice. And if you think about society, Hindu society or Islamic society, Christian society, you think of something else as just and unjust. So there is a clash. So a good political system is the one, number one, it should have right constitutional morality. It should have right constitution. And number two, how does it create social legal arrangements, political systems by which society moves and implements constitutional morality? Okay. So that is the question. What is meant by the term constitutional morality, and how does one uphold constitutional morality? Is that clear? Devansh, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, another question. Sir,
is constitutional morality clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Bharat, is the question clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Constitutional morality, the word is used in many questions. That includes general studies. And people have some idea, but they don't think freely on that. Because they may just memorize constitutional morality is this, but they don't think freely. Okay. So you will understand once you see how constitutional morality is different from social morality.
Yes, sir, I have that confusion.
Okay. What a woman is expected to do, what society thinks and what law thinks are different. Society has its own moral code. Constitution has a different moral code. Why is it like this? Because Constitution is a very advanced document. Came from the Western system, Western values, lot of idealism. So highly educated people have written that this is how India should move. But the society is so backward. Okay, and some people think it is not backward, but it is actually a great society. And this constitution is not applicable. So that is one way to think.
Sir, social morality is
just 1 second. So some people don't accept constitutional morality. They'll say, "Well, social morality is higher thing. You are imposing a wrong values on great Indian society, great Indian civilization." So it is a rejection. So it's very important to have constitutional morality right, goal to be right. And then how do you reduce the gap between the goal and the practice?